Hey there, this is Choose the Way, where we talk about anything and everything pertaining to life. However, our purpose and our goal here is to always try to find and choose the best way to live. So thanks for joining us. Let's get into it. All right, this is episode 2. It is Tuesday the 17th for you. However, it is Friday the 13th for me, which may or may not be a good thing today. I haven't even thought about that yet. However, I'm pre recording this, and so your Tuesday is going to look a lot different than my Friday because I'm anticipating some new orders and mandates concerning the whole coronavirus thing. I'm anticipating maybe even more chaos with the election. I'm hoping, and I guess I don't know about praying, but I'm hoping that there is some calmness in that whole thing, all of that. But your Tuesday may look a lot different than my Friday, even though it's Friday the 13th. But today, this is episode 2, and we're going to talk about a 4-letter word, which is love. And then we're going to talk about a second 4-letter word, which is lust. And they really don't work well together. So I'm going to be in the first letter of John, and that's chapter 2, verses 15 through 17. So I'm just going to read it, and then we're going to talk about it for a minute. All right? So John says this, verse 15, "Do not love the world nor the things in the world, and if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the boastful pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. The world is passing away, and also its lusts, but the one who does the will of God lives forever." All right, so John here is talking about the world in the sense that, not like, for instance, you shouldn't love people in the world, not like, for instance, you shouldn't love Buckeyes, or you shouldn't love a good meal, or maybe even a good movie. He's not talking about any of that. He's talking about, he elaborates on that in verse 16. And he talks about this idea of loving the world so much that you lust after it. The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the boastful pride of life. So the idea is loving the things in the world so much that it's your only desire. It's what you live for. Matter of fact, the lust of the eyes and the lust of the flesh, and then you start to get this boastful pride of life, like this is all there is, and I'm going to get all there is here because there's nothing else after that. And John and all of the Bible writers would totally push against that idea and that thought, because there is more than just this life. And so he says here, when you do this, I just want you to look at verse 17. I kind of want to camp out here because I think we all know what the lust of the eyes are. So for instance, you may get together this Thanksgiving, and there may be some people that are going to be really upset. I'm anticipating, like I said, that if you're watching this on Tuesday the 17th, I'm anticipating that there's new orders, more than likely that you're not supposed to get together with your family. And some of you are going to hate that, and some of you are going to be really upset with that. And some of you are going to really love that because, let's face it, some of us just don't like the crowds. They don't like being around some certain family members. I mean, let's just be honest here, right? And so some of you are going to love that. But the one thing that everybody would miss, or does miss, most people I guess, would be the food part. And so we know what it is to lust. That roasted turkey, or that honey glazed ham, or those mashed potatoes and gravy, and I know your mouth is already watering, that green bean casserole, or that corn or sweet potato casserole, whatever it is for you. Or like for our family, the big highlight of holidays is these things called Buckeyes. And you may know about them, but you take peanut butter and powdered sugar, and you mix it all together, and it forms this like dough thing, and then you roll it into balls, and then you dip it in chocolate, and you let the chocolate get solid on there, and then they eat these by the handfuls, man. I mean, they're crazy. They just eat them and eat them and eat them. And so we know what lust is, because you get one of those and you desire more and you desire more, and you're like, oh, they're so good. And pretty soon, you're sick to your stomach, and you're, oh, that wasn't probably the best idea. So we know what lust is. But this idea of loving the world, John's not saying you shouldn't love people. You shouldn't care for them and do what's good and best for them. He's not even saying you shouldn't enjoy a good meal or enjoy certain things. What he's saying here is that you don't want to put all of your energies, all of your life, all of your hopes into something that's passing away. Verse 17, the world is passing away and all its lusts. The world is passing away and all of its lusts. So everything that you put your energy into, it's going to be gone one day. But there is one thing, there is one person that you can put all of your energies into, and not only will you live forever, but you will be satisfied, fully satisfied in this life. Verse 17, the world is passing away and also its lust, but the one who does the will of God lives forever. You see, the world would want us to believe that if we love and hold on to and actually lust after and get everything we can in this world, then that's going to fulfill us somehow, because the boastful pride of life says this is all there is, and this is not all there is. Every writer displayed that, and they say they believe that that's not all there is. So I want to talk then about the will of God, because he said here, if you do the will of God, you'll live forever. So instead of putting your energies into the things of this world and loving them and lusting after them with your eyes and your flesh, and then having this boastful pride of life that says this is all there is, I'm just going to get all there is, then there's something better. And that is the will of God. And so what is the will of God? Well, I just want to tell you that throughout all the scriptures, there's a lot of different things that God wills and wants for our lives. But the one thing that is most important, Jesus was asked about this, and Jesus said this. The guy that was talking to Jesus said this, and Jesus said, yeah, that's right. But the will of God is this, that you would love God with all of your heart, with all of your mind, with all of your soul, and with all of your strength. All of your energy into loving God. Learning from him, getting to know him, who he is. That's what will cause someone to live forever. Because when you get to know God, eternal life enters into you. Now, I know it's not something you can necessarily feel, and I know that on Tuesday here, when you're watching this, you might say to yourself, well, there's a lot of things going on. But listen, that eternal life, no matter what's going on around you, that eternal life brings peace and satisfaction. And so if you and I learn to love God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength, then all of a sudden we can enjoy a buckeye or two. And it's no big deal. But we're not going to necessarily eat the whole bucket. Now, I know sometimes we may fall short and eat the whole bucket, and then we feel sick, and God's like, oh, I told you that's what was going to happen. You're like, yeah, I know, I can't do that again. But we can enjoy those things. We can enjoy a good movie with someone. We can enjoy the company of another person. But when we enjoy that, it's not something we necessarily are lusting after anymore. It's not something that we look to fulfill us, because we're learning to love God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength. And we find out that God is the one that fills us to the full, that he satisfies us to the very depths of our souls. And when your soul is satisfied, then you can really, truly start to enjoy life and the things around you. You don't lust, or as Paul put it, you don't love the world. You don't lust after it with your eyes and your flesh, and you don't get this boastful pride of life anymore that this is all there is, because you know that God is greater than extra buckeyes in my stomach, and you start to live like that. But even greater yet, well, maybe not greater yet, but a greater idea here is that Jesus said, but there is a second commandment which is just like the first. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Now, when he said neighbor, he was talking about anybody and everybody. So that's even people you might consider your enemy. Like the person that may have put the order out that you're really frustrated with, that he's saying, hey, you can't spend time with your family this holiday season, or you shouldn't spend time with your family this holiday season. Or the person who's on the other side of the election saying, my candidate won, and you're over here fuming because you're like, no way, we won, and this is just like a big fight. No, that your neighbor is everyone and anyone. So how do you do that? Well, you can't do that unless you learn to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Because then as you're doing that, God fills your soul with this true love, this godly love. And then you're able to love others. And when you love others, there is a peace and a satisfaction that comes deep in the soul that lets you know that, hey, you know what? This is what eternal life is all about. It's deeper than loving the things of this earth which are passing away. Eternal life is understanding and having this love that lasts forever. It never fades away. And so I wanted to encourage you with that today, because no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're struggling with today, if you and I will learn to do the will of God, to love him with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and then love our neighbor as ourselves, we can truly enjoy all the things of life. We can enjoy them, but never lust after them, because we know that there's only one thing that satisfies the depths of our soul, and that's God himself. So you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.